let's finish drawing out our leg chain. So we have one chain already built. What I'm going to go ahead and do is actually move this over to the left. I like to work with the left side and then mirror over to the right. So knowing that, we'll go ahead and select our root here, this first bone. We'll press F4 so we can always keep in mind the topology. If we're not, we may place these bones in the wrong location and get some really wonky deformations as a result. So with that thigh now selected, I'm going to go ahead and move it over and center it within the character's left leg. Okay, from there, we can move over to the perspective, and I'm going to go ahead and work on renaming these. Now, we want to be mindful of a good naming convention for not only bones, but all of our objects, because it's going to save us a lot of time if we, let's say, need to go back and search for those objects again. Or, in this case, if we want to quickly bind bones or envelope those to our character, we can use a really good naming convention to save a lot of time in the process. So what I like to do for bound bones is actually give it a prefix of BN. Okay? And that way, later on, we can do a wildcard search for all of the bones with BN and add that to our envelope very quickly. All right, so this first bone, this is going to be BN underscore, followed by what direction that it lies on. It's actually the left side. So following that underscore, we'll put an L, followed by another underscore, and this bone's association. This is the thigh bone. So we'll go and label this thigh, and then 01. The 01 basically shows us the uniqueness of this object in the scene. If we were to ever clone this or import another object with the same name, because of the name clash, that imported object would have a 02, letting us know that it's not unique. Okay, so we want to be mindful of those things. All right, now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Now, if you want to move down your hierarchy, rather than clicking each bone, you could actually use page up and page down. If we were to move our camera, then go ahead and press the page down key. Notice we get to the next joint very quickly. All right, so we can go ahead and rename this. This is going to be our knee bone. Copy the name, press page down, paste, and this is our shin. All right, from there we can copy that, move our camera, press page down, paste, and this is ankle. All right, now when we get to the next bone, this is actually not going to be bound to our character. Instead, what we're going to do is actually clone a bone from this and bind that or envelope that to our character. That extra bone is going to serve as our toe bend. Okay, so this is going to be a way we can very quickly establish a nice toe bend rig. And we're actually going to be getting to that very shortly. So knowing that, I'm actually going to label this bone here, instead of BN, I'll give it a prefix of JDRV for joint driver, letting us know that it's actually driving something else. And for its actual name, that's going to be ball 01. So JDRV L ball 01. All right, going to the last bone we have, this nub. For the nubs, I don't like to envelope those at all because that's really a waste of time. Knowing that, let's go ahead and give this a nice prefix name. Instead of BN, let's say we give this a prefix of BE, bone end. Following that, this is the toe bone, and I'll also add end right after toe, just for further clarification. And this is the end nub, and it should not be enveloped. Okay, great. Well, once that's done, we're ready to apply a high IK solver. And even before that, what I'm actually going to go ahead and do is clone this over or mirror it over to the right side. And then we could apply that history independent solver so we can get these legs moving naturally. So selecting all of our bones and going to our bone tools, notice we have our mirror settings. Okay, so we can go ahead and choose that. And if you notice, we have some nice tools for either mirroring across, okay, and we know that it's the x-axis we'd like to mirror across, looking at our, not only at our manipulator, but also at the axis in our scene, the axis tripod. All right, so that's fine. We have this offset parameter that we can move to reposition this. So I'm going to go ahead and tweak that. 5 looks a little bit too much. We could always bring this to, let's say, 4.8. And that looks better. Choose OK. If it's still not aligned totally or perfectly within your character's leg, go ahead and move that root and reposition that if you need to. But I think the value that I put in works well here. Okay, so now we're ready to apply that history independent solver so we can get an idea of how the legs should move. Okay, so doing this, we'll select our left thigh, start with it, hold down Alt, right click, and get to our high IK solver. We're going to connect that right to the ankle. And there we have it. So now as we move this around, here's what we end up with. Great. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and undo that. We can definitely rename this. We know it's a history independent solver, so I'm going to call this high IK. That's going to be the prefix _L_leg 01. Going to the right side now, again we select our thigh, Alt right click, high IK solver, apply that to the ankle. This is going to be high IK _R_leg 01. And there we have it. And we also always want to test the controls that we add to make sure that they're functioning right. Okay, let's say we go ahead and color code our chain and finish off the lesson. So I'll start with the left side. We'll select all of these bones. We'll need to go ahead and deselect our high IK solver. So we'll just Alt click that. Now for the start color, I like to use a darker blue. Let's go ahead and go to blue and then darken that up. And then by the end color, we can kind of lighten that up so we get this really nice gradient down the chain. All right, so again, I'm just going to go ahead and choose blue and then lighten it up. Choose OK and apply gradient. And there we have it. All right, let's say we go ahead and take care of the right side now. Again, selecting our bones. We'll Alt click to get rid of the IK goals in our selection. And then for this right side, we can use green. So we'll just darken up that green color. For the start, for the end, we'll lighten that up. Apply gradient, and there we have it. Okay, so we can very easily discern between our left and right legs now. Okay, well, with that done, that finishes this lesson. In the next lesson, we're going to rig in our toe bend bone.